Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. We are going to do another review here of the Mauschen, the newest Tier 9 German heavy tank. And it leads on to the Maus line. If we have a look here, the way that it used to go is it used to go Tiger P, VK4502A, 4502B, Maus. But now they've added in 3 new German heavies, and the Maus line is the more traditional way it should be, which is with super heavy tanks, which leads to the Maus, whereas these go from the VK to a rear turreted heavy to another rear turreted heavy tank. So that's the way that they've now got this set up. And this Tier 9 Mauschen is basically just a Maus at Tier 9, with some comparable differences, but nothing too out of the ordinary of a Maus. Pretty much. So starting off here, 1910 health is a lot of HP compared to the VK4502B, which has got 1820. If we upgrade that with improved assembly, it goes up to 1930. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you can do either one. So yeah, with that improved assembly, 1800. It has got a decent amount of health. If we have a look at some of the other heavies here, the K91 has got probably about 1700 maybe. Yeah, it's got 1700 HP, so, you know, this thing, it's got a decent amount of health, you know, it's got a plentiful amount of armour as well, so combining the two, it's very good. 240 at the front of the turret, 160 side, 150 rear, 200 frontal hull, 155 side, and 135 rear. It is very well armoured. It is the most well armoured out of all of the Tier 9 heavy tanks, I would have to say. Notable weaknesses that it does have, however: 1 will be the machine gun turret, 2 will be the commander's cupola, and 3 will be the turret cheeks, like on the Maus. So there is some notable weak spots, but the armour compared to the Tier 10 Maus, if we have a look, here we go. As you can see, there's not too much difference between the Mauschen and the Maus. The Maus is a bit bigger, but comparing it, the armour, it is better on the Maus, but it is pretty much just a Tier 9 Maus, and that's what makes it so good, because, well, you know, 155 side, you can side scrape very effectively. And, you know, the turret as well, 160 side, 150 rear and 135 rear. Even when people circle around you, they're not going to have an easy time getting through your armour. As for tactics on how to use the armour, the best thing to do is keep your gun in line with your hull and just sort of wiggle your tank side to side, because weak spot will be the front of the turret, namely the cheeks, but of course keeping the sides angled like so. Yeah, at about sort of this angle, you're probably still safe at this angle. You can still get bounces off of the side armour, and also it will be more difficult for them to hit the side cheeks, especially if you're doing something like this. Not quite as fast, obviously, but in the same sort of fashion. So, you know, it's still very good armour nonetheless. View range 267, yeah, nothing too spectacular right there. Manoeuvrability, yeah, this is where it sort of gets let down. 25 top with 22 average. It's probably actually less than that. It is a very slow tank. 9.1 power to weight is absolutely terrible. Nearly 170 tons of tank is what you've got here. Turret traverse is only 15.64 and hull traverse is only 21.7. They are not good numbers at all to have there, especially not considering that the engine is 1,550 horsepower. But even so, distributing that across 170 tons of tank, it is very, very, very immobile. You know, compared to it, the Tortoise is probably like a hare in comparison to it. If we look at the Tortoise, I mean, it's 20. It has a better power to weight. It certainly weighs over 100 tons lighter, well, nearly 100 tons lighter, with a better hull traverse. So yeah, and that's the Tortoise. In comparison, yeah, the Mauschen is the most immobile thing at this tier, and the second most immobile thing in the game, I would say, other than the Maus, which will be the most immobile thing. Is the Maus actually better? No, the Maus is ever so slightly better in terms of mobility, but you know, the Mauschen is still very immobile. But then we come to the gun, which is the which is the 12.8 centimeter Kampfwagen Cannon 44 L55 gun. The stock gun is a 128 millimeter L50A, which has got less penetration, but the same average damage and generally worse stats overall. So the top gun is obviously going to be the best gun, and this gun is a very good gun anyway. 4.3 second aim time is not too bad at all. 0.36 dispersion is fairly inaccurate, but not the most inaccurate thing. It's sort of average accuracy. Just over 2000 DPM with a 13.37 reload time, which is still quite slow, but you know, it's a 128. What do you expect? Very good average pen, 246. 311 with AP, 65 with HE, 460 average damage with AP, 390 with APCR, and 600 with high explosive. 8 degrees of gun depression, which is fairly surprising. That's quite good gun depression, actually. And 24 degrees of gun elevation, which is, you know, it's quite a tall turret, so, you know, gun depression is still pretty good there, and a very good gun elevation. It's sort of like up here, which is very good. Overall, it's a very solid gun. Pretty much it's exactly the same as the one on the VK4502B and also on the E75. They are the same gun. Probably some negligible differences, such as a different reload time or different aim times and dispersions, but in general it's still a very good gun. I know that the Maus has got very good gun handling. Not too sure on the Mauschen, but I'm sure that the Mauschen has also got pretty good gun handling as well. So there is that. And that is it pretty much for the basic stats. Yeah, well, it's a good tank if you like heavies, is what I'll have to say here. Yeah, I mean, it's got very good armor profile, and it's got a decent gun on it, but, you know, it is very immobile. Mediums will be, well, quite easily circle around you, and there are some notable frontal weak spots that aren't present on the Maus, so it is worse than the Maus in that regards, but for a tier 9 Maus, it's very good either way. Consumables, you've got your standard repair, first aid, fire, engine power boost for 20% engine power for 15 seconds, and then your adrenaline for 20% of low speed and 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules for 15 seconds. And then you've got your multi-purpose, which is those 3 rolled into one. So you can go ahead, smack those on as you want. Provisions, you've of course got standard and improved for 3 and 10% respectively to engine power and crew and engine power and turret traverse, which is quite useful, especially in a tank as immobile as this. And then you've got your chocolate bar and your regular chocolate, which is 3 and 10% respectively to crew mastering. And then you've got your protective kit, which is all those things. So you can go ahead, mount those as you wish, but do remember that you know, they are 4,000 a piece, pretty much. Of course, discount from supply, they are slightly cheaper for me, but they are still going to cost you a lot if you do lose the battle. As for ammo, 50 rounds of ammo, so yeah, you're not likely to use all those in the battle, so you can go ahead, mix and match those as you wish. You can probably do a pretty even split with, like, I don't know, 20, 20, 10, and you'll be fine. You wouldn't use up all of your armor piercing in a single battle, so yeah, there's that. As for equipment, gun rammer is a definite. You could go with calibrated shells for the 258 pen, but you don't really need it, so you know, your gun is good enough to get through any tier 9, and any tier 10 that the Maus can get through, you can get through as well, and that's quite a lot. So yeah, you don't really need calibrated shells. So gun rammer for the extra DPM and the slightly better reload time. Improved modules for the extra track durability is a definite, because this tank, you can get detract in it and you can not take damage. However, you don't really want to be immobile when you've got people rushing you, because you kind of need to maneuver a week in advance when you're trying to stop people from rushing you. So improved modules for the extra track durability is definitely the more useful of the two here for this tank. And then improved optics, because you're not a sniper. This tank, anyone using this tank as a sniper should sell their tank and uninstall the game, because this tank is not a sniper. It is a frontline brawling heavy. That's what the armor's for. So yeah, anyone sniping with this tank should just get nuked pretty much. So coated optics is a definite for this. Enhanced gun lane drive, get that accuracy down. or get the aim time down rather, is yeah, definitely useful. Supercharge is also quite useful, but I would say enhanced gun main drive is important. Enhanced armor, because a little more armor on this can't hurt. You know, I normally advise against enhanced armor for lightly armored tanks because, well, it's pretty useless, but in this case, enhanced armor is going to be, you know, pretty useful, especially for those weak spots. So yeah, enhanced armor for that. Improved control for the extra hull traverse, because, you know, that's a kicker really. I mean, this just gives a slightly better power to weight and slightly better average speed, but I would say that the 2 degrees better hull traverse is going to be more beneficial to this tank. Vert stabs, because you could go refined gun to get the accuracy down to 0.32, but vert stabs is going to be more useful because the turret traverse is so slow that trying to do any snapshots in this tank is going to be, yeah, a bit tricky. So vert stabs is going to be, you know, probably more important in this tank. And then enhanced tracks for the automatic return, for when you allow your tracks to repair themselves, they'll repair to a fully working state instead of just straight to the yellow state that they normally do. So again, take what I said about the tracks from this one and just slap it on there, because that's the same sort of thing. And then your choice of whatever the hell those two things are. So overall, it is a fun little heavy tank. Well, it's not exactly little, but it's a fun heavy tank, super heavy. Yeah, I like the mouse, so I enjoyed driving the mouse, so I do enjoy driving the Mauschen, and it's pretty much going to be the same for you. If you enjoy driving the mouse, then you too will enjoy driving the Mauschen, because it is basically a tier 9 mouse. I mean, especially if you haven't got the mouse before this update came around, you'll have to go through the Mauschen anyway. But overall, yeah, it's a very fun tank. Very strong armor. It feels great when you just start bouncing everyone's shots when you're down an alley. You know, side scraping and all that is very applicable here. You can apply everything there and just use the Mauschen with a very big, dirty 128. Of course, it does have weak spots, as does most things, but yeah, overall, side scraping, you should be fine. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's the Mauschen. I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.